Why do blacks kill blacks? I'll tell you why. Because whites that blacks seen when they was alive, they were hating blacks. When they died, they wanted to bring those whites' soul or whatever into the black race to make them live as a black person. And so over time, that's what's happened. And now you got this mixture of what used to be white living as black, hating them and others. And so they destroy as much as they can because they didn't want to be black. And you got blacks breeding because they think, well, I'm forcing them. So now you got a bunch of people that they breed that hated. So they're breeding hate because they think that they are love. They're not. Everybody's human. They all got these emotions that they can't handle. Because you see it all the time where people can't handle their emotions, no matter what. It doesn't matter. You can get into the tiniest point of thought of why somebody does something. Then you got to multiply that times 7 billion and find all the 7 billion different reasons why people hate or love or whatever. And then you find out it comes down to bull and they're just doing this or they believe this or they do that. But it comes down, and you can say, well, that's not real. You can't breed a soul into somebody else. You can't breed hate. Oh, okay. So what you're saying is people that hate or in hate groups haven't bred hate. Now you can't use, if you say that people can't breed hate, then you can't say that there's people breeding in hate groups that are going to create hate. So, but that's my jest on why blacks are killing blacks is because they're breeding dead white people. They're not breeding the dead white people. I don't mean like necrophilia. I mean they're finding out as much as they can about that white person or whatever. You know, the depths of the psychochasm that is each person's individual thought of what they think life is. You know, their own description of what life is, but they don't tell everybody. They just agree with what everybody else says because they're afraid of their own opinion. You know, they're afraid. Well, I got an opinion, but I'm not going to tell anybody else because then they'll turn against me, and I'll be divided and individualized, and I won't be able to be part of the what I don't believe in anyway. You know, so they're everybody's walking around and just, you know, even the ones you can see it in their in the vibes they give off. People that are, even though they're pro supportive of something, you can see the only reason they're there is because they're being popularized. They don't actually believe in what they're saying. Now they want to say it, and they got a bunch of ways to say it, and they got a bunch of words to add to it to say to make it look like they believe in it. But deep down inside, they're probably thinking something else. They're thinking, you know, I'd rather, you know. But people can cover that up. But I'm just saying, you know, you got to quit breeding. You got to quit looking at other people that hate you, and then thinking, well, I'm gonna breed. You know, if that person dies, or I'm gonna breed something or something like, you know, I'm gonna make my kid, make a kid that's like them, and then, you know, that kid will love me. It's not gonna happen because the psychochasm of thought will individualize itself, and your kid will grow up and realize what you're trying to do. You're trying to control them, force them to love you, and you didn't bring them up to pass anything. It's crazy. The human race is crazy. They're deranged. They got all these different individualistic ideas. Each person, you know, families. There's no families. They're all a bunch of individuals that live together, and then they leave. And the ones that leave more often, unless they're, you know, you go to certain countries, old countries, and you know they have families that live together, or they have good time. They have big family gatherings because, you know, but doesn't mean that there's not a resentment somewhere, you know, in their heart or something that, you know, it's causing. There's resentment everywhere. You know, it's like, wow, life ain't that cool or whatever. You know, people live a cool life, but maybe they're thinking, well, you know, this is where I've developed to, but not necessarily where I'd be the most happy. But anyway, because they get a bunch of money and get a bunch of popularity, and they think, well, you know, it's not that great. I mean, I'm gonna smile and everything because that's what they've developed. Because everybody develops this style, and some people it works for, and some people it doesn't. But yeah, that's why blacks kill blacks, is because these people thought, well, I'm gonna breed this white hate into the blacks, and then they're gonna get along because they're black, and you know, we this, that, the other. So you think, and then you say, well, they, you know, I got this kid that hates black people, and you know, or they got a bunch of hatred, and I don't know why. You might have forgot that you even thought that. You know, you've seen one day, maybe, you know, if those people were black, they wouldn't hate blacks because they'd be black. And now you haven't realized yet that that's not true. I mean, there's, you know, there is no race that's lovable. And it has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with their hatred. It's just the human race isn't identifiable. They don't, I mean, look how many countries and how divisible everything is. You know, everybody, even countries, they only come together to what? Kill other countries? Or in sometimes they come together to build their economy up, but not everybody's allowed to build up the economy. There's people homeless, there's people starving in that country, but they don't show that. They just show the people that unite. They don't show the people that say, this country ain't that great, I'm starving, or I can't get a job, or this, that, and the other, and there's crying and everything. So the human race ain't that great. And you people keep thinking that you got answers by breeding and this, that, and the other, or by helping, or by talking. It's there's too many people. You're just creating more burden, more problems. That's all breeding is. Where do you think all the problems come from? Breeders. They won't accept it because, oh no, you can't say that because we'll have to quit having sex, and you know, whatever. Say what I said.